As a founder, as a coder, as a designer, as a developer, whatever it is, you just need to build the substance. You need to build something that's interesting. You need to build your skills. There's a point in your journey where you just need to do the work. So there's a point in your career where word of mouth is what counts. There are a lot of founders, there are a lot of business builders who shy away from publicity. But the best of them know is not to be making noise all the time. But if I'm launching something new, I want audience attention on it. I want customer attention on it. So early in your journey, I think it is worth putting your story out and seeing if people will capture, are interested in it. And the truth is, no matter what has been built in our ecosystem till now, the best is yet to come.
Great to have you here. If you know me, and probably don't, I work in PR. Renee PR is a tech PR agency, so you can imagine that Tomiwa is one of those people that we look up to and admire and work with a lot. So,
thank you. It's great to be here. Amazing audience. Well done.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into it, by show of hands, how many of you think you're currently getting the visibility that you would ideally want to have? How many of you think you're getting the visibility that you need, as a founder or as a talent? By show of hands. Okay, that's quite low. Okay, and how many of you think that you're getting the visibility, or you're currently telling your story the way you want it to be heard? Just one person? Okay, 2, 3. Okay, that's great. So that gives us more reason to talk about this today. So speaking about visibility, Tomiwa, why is visibility important, and what does strategic visibility look like for founders and talents?
All right. So, hi, Joyce. Thank you for having me, and thank you to the entire Builder Summit team. It's an incredible audience, and it's good to be here. And I'm always excited about speaking with the builders of the future. Building can be a tough, lonely journey, and it is exciting to find people who are committed to it, who are willing to do the work, and are going to go on the journey. And the truth is, no matter what has been built in our ecosystem till now, the best is yet to come. It's a relatively young ecosystem. There are a lot of fundamentals that we're still putting in place. I really like the theme of this year's conference, momentum. It's actually quite similar to the theme of our conference for Moonshots, which is building momentum.
Yeah.
And I think that what's important about that is that as an ecosystem, we're still starting, we're still building momentum. We never get there, but the road is getting started. I think that for founders, strategic visibility, strategic publicity means knowing what it is you're trying to accomplish at any given purpose, who it is you're trying to speak to, and ensuring that you're able to reach those people in an effective manner.
Okay.
And so it differs at different stages of the journey. There's a part of the journey where, to be fair, to the answer to your first question, how many people are getting the amount of visibility that they need? I don't mind that the answer is a little bit low, because there's a point in your journey where you just need to do the work. You just need to build the substance. You need to build something that's interesting. You need to build your skills as a founder, as a coder, as a designer, as a developer, whatever it is. There are parts of the journey that need no visibility. It's critical to have substance by the time the visibility starts. And so there's an early part of your journey where you want to actually build, you want to learn. The visibility you need in that case might be to other builders, might be to other people who are doing the work at your level, at the level slightly above you. There's an interview with Issa Rae where she talks about networking is not always down to up. You are not always looking for the orga that is going to pull you up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're looking for your peers that are doing the best work. And you're building a network of, I'm the best designer there is, that's the best product person there is, that's the best developer there is. We're going to form Voltron. We're going to push each other to do the best work. Or actually, it's a team of 5 designers, but our standards are here. So we know that this is where our work is, but all of us are pushing each other to get there. And the visibility you need at that point in your career is not to be on the front of TechCabal. The visibility you need in that career, at that point in your career, is that if anybody asks, who is the most badass designer at Unilag? Who is the most badass, like, young developer I can bring onto a project? People will call your name.
Right.
And so what visibility is there at that point? Like, what do you need to be known as the most badass coder at this point? It means that your work speaks for itself. Everybody that sees your work talks to somebody else and says, Joyce, that's the person that you need. For this project or for this thing, Joyce is the person that you need. And you want that. So there's a point in your career where word of mouth is what counts. Now, if you're building a company, there's a few milestones that are critical where you do want visibility. When you start, talk about the idea to everybody. I assure you, your first idea, and if you listen to Emmanuel's conversation, your first idea is probably stupid. It's probably going to fail. Sorry, like, it's not great news. It's the reality of things. Yeah. But it's okay. Talk to everybody about it. Be open to feedback. Take the feedback. Fix it. Every day, try to fix it. Try to get better. Maybe you can take that thing until it becomes something, I don't know. Facebook was maybe Mark Zuckerberg's 3rd project or something like that. So maybe one of your early projects will become something incredible. For some people, it will be their 6th projects. I've built and shut down companies. I've worked for half a dozen different companies at minimum, maybe a dozen different companies. Big Cabal, I didn't even found Big Cabal. By the time I came to it, I was an old man by these standards. And it's probably the most impactful or visible thing I've ever done. And so at that point, you're building something, it's working, then you need a different level of visibility for it. And so strategic visibility, I think, is critical, knowing, look, am I looking for customers? Am I looking for investors? Am I looking for people who work in this field to guide me? Am I looking for partners, customers who will help me grow this business? I'm being clear about it. So never looking for publicity's sake. There are a lot of founders, there are a lot of business builders who shy away from publicity. But the best of them know is not to be making noise all the time. But if I'm launching something new, I want audience attention on it. I want customer attention on it. Sometimes if I'm at this stage, we're building something incredible, but we're going to run out of cash. We need strategic investors. We need people in our space that understand the space to be looking at us, to be throwing money our way. So this is a good time to make noise about what it is that we're doing. Yeah. So you just have to be clear about what your objectives are.
Thank you very much for that. Would you agree, and I'm such a huge promoter of storytelling, right? Would you agree that storytelling is one of the ways people can gain visibility?
Absolutely. I think that Steve Jobs proved it, and probably the best example, or one of the best early examples of just masterful storytelling differentiating a brand,
right?
You know, capturing audience attention and people's imagination. Storytelling is a skill. Different people have different capabilities with it. Someone like Jason Njoku built Iroko and became like an early hero because he was willing to tell his own story on Twitter. He wrote this brilliant blog where he talked about the highs and lows of Iroko. I'm dating myself, you know. But incredible storyteller.
Yeah.
You have people like the Piggyverse team, where, again, I think Odun used, you know, Twitter really, really masterfully. But then very quickly they evolved into videos and social media campaigns and like a brand presence that's really effective at telling their story, connecting with their audiences.
Yeah.
So those are really, really great examples and different examples. You know, you have something like a Carbon where, what's this gentleman's? Ngozi Dozie will write his own story and you read his own blog, and he's a really funny writer and a clever writer. So there are people who are great at telling their stories their way. Sometimes it's just your visual storytelling is incredible. At Big Cabal, one of the things that, so I've always, I'm a horrible blogger. I've written maybe 3 blogs in the entire history of Big Cabal. One thing I've always believed in from a storytelling perspective is I'm a big believer in design. One of my early jobs was I worked at Atlantic Records in the arts department with 16 designers. Wow. So I've seen and we were doing storytelling for artists, for musicians. So, I mean, what we used to say in the Atlantic Records department was, you come in an ordinary person, you leave a superstar. So that is, what does the album cover look like? What do you dress like? What does the music video look like? All of that stuff is storytelling.
Yeah.
I had that experience very early in my career. So any company where I've been a leader, I've always overinvested in design. Okay. It can be expensive. I remember one of my first fights with an operations person was, why do we need 2 designers? And I was like, we need a graphic designer and a product designer. And they're like, one person can do the work. I was like, no, those are 2 different things. We didn't have money at the time, so I understand why she was pissed at me. Yeah. But I was like, we're going to do it. And so we've always made that investment. And then we built something like Moonshot. And if you've heard any of the chatter about Moonshot, or if you've been about Moonshot, you'll understand that the visuals of it have been an incredible part of the storytelling. They're part of what it is that makes it interesting and exciting and different to people. Okay. So it's critical to find the way that storytelling works for you. If you're funny, maybe you're funny on video and you can build a brand of being funny on video. Right. If you are a deep, thoughtful person, there's value in being the kind of person who, I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to interview all the other AI founders and developers as a way to promote my AI company. And it's going to be known for depth. So A16Z did that. They built this entire massive media operation. And some of it is just, we have the densest, most technical interviews about development and coding and AI. And if you want the deepest thing, come here, because we have the substance. Yeah. So it doesn't always have to be funny. It doesn't always have to be memes. It doesn't always have to be social media. Sometimes it is, we're going to do a deep technical blog. Everybody's going to follow us. So maybe a more recent example, Paystack. I mean, the early years of Paystack, they did a brilliant job of making sure everybody was writing a year-end wrap-up. They were writing some story, and you could hear from different voices. It wasn't all Shola. Yeah. It was, here's, Okpe writing this. Here's Ezra writing this. Here's this junior product manager writing their experience. Here's an intern talking about their experience at Paystack. Yeah. And it made them incredibly loved. It made it easy for people to understand the company and to feel like they could be a part of it. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't always have to be the founder. Sometimes it's find the team and find the angle, find the story within your team.
All right, that's brilliant. So one thing that I've taken out of what you've talked a lot about own media, right? And that's the storytelling that you do by yourself and not necessarily being on the front cover of TechCabal or Zikoko.
That one too, they come.
So as someone leading a powerful media house, what do you wish people knew more or understood more about, one, working with the media, but also telling their stories themselves?
We could probably do an hour just on this alone. Yeah. There are, one, lead with substance. Yeah. So I think too often people do start pushing for visibility too early. There's value very early in your journey to being known. As a publication, TechCabal is always interested in you are doing something unique that nobody else has done. Yeah. And I think we have a series right now called Startups to Watch. Yeah. And so with Startups to Watch, it's a great idea. It's an interesting idea. We think it's worth telling the story. Is it going to succeed? Is the business model right? Maybe, maybe not. We just think this thing is interesting. So early in your journey, I think it is worth putting your story out and seeing if people will are interested in it. Mm-hmm. But after that, the next milestone I want to know is that you're building something meaningful. Like, this thing has gone from idea to something meaningful. Yeah. And I think people spend a lot of energy, they pay a lot of money for press releases, they show up at every single event and try to get on the stage. And I'm like, is the substance there? So I think substance is really, really critical.
Okay.
And sometimes I also wish people knew that there are things that actually a press release is good for and things that are editorial coverage. People get pissed when we don't cover every product that they release. But my guy, you've just released the 900th API for payments this year.
So what do you look out for?
As a founder, as a business leader, might need the world to know that I have an API for, for payments. That's important for the public to know.
Yeah.
It's not an important story for anybody at TechCabal to write. Like, there's
Right.
no writer or editor that you reach out to that's going to find that story interesting. But if you put it as a press release, actually one of your customers might find you. We reach a few million people across our platforms on a monthly basis. Somebody might find it and find it interesting. It's just not a story for us. Right. And so it's critical to be clear about that. Sometimes there are things that, look, I need this word to get out so that, there are times when you get a license. Okay, 25 people already have that license. If MoneyPoint gets that license, it's news because MoneyPoint is going in that direction. If Company X that we've never heard of before gets that license, great for Company X, good for them, but it doesn't matter. But that might be advertising. It is time for you to show people that I have this license, because your customer might see that you have this license and come and do something with you. So I think that's really important, differentiating what is a meaningful and important story and what is information that's important for you to get out, but maybe isn't that exciting from a news perspective. Right. I think engaging in good faith is also a critical thing. And so oftentimes when we have a story, sometimes it's great news, sometimes it's bad news, sometimes we're trying to understand. I think it's important to engage, build long-term relationships and engage with good faith, because you can turn a bad story into a good story if you give the backstory, if you explain where it's going, if you engage meaningfully, if there's trust. So if we've spoken with you in the past, you've given us a quote when we needed it, I think that's so. Really important thing, very early, keep people appraised of what it is that you're doing. You meet a reporter somewhere, you start to build a relationship. I think that's a key thing that a lot of people don't know.
All right.
They are relationships. So if you're doing crypto, it's not just about finding TechCabal or emailing TechCabal and saying TechCabal, write it. Who at TechCabal covers crypto? Who at any of the other publications covers crypto? Send them regular messages. If you meet them at a conference, start an offline relationship. Give them updates about what's happening in the industry, what's happening in your company.
Okay.
They won't write about you all the time, but the day that you have a story that's meaningful, they know that this person switched on, this person is in this space. But that's a critical thing to know. If you're in energy, who covers energy? If you're a startup, who covers startups? And sometimes it's two people. So one person covers startups, one person covers fintech. And you need to be talking to both of them. And the fintech person might not be interested in your story at the time, but the startup person is interested. This person really likes founder stories, so they write very personal stories. This person really likes technical stories, so they write technical stories. You have to know who to pitch. And let me plug Joyce and her work. That's a lot of work. So there are founders, there are business leaders where you're like, I just want to be building my thing, or I just want to be chasing customers. I don't have time to be figuring out whether it is Ngozi that writes technical story or Bumi that likes, human stories. I think it's the reverse. So hire a PR person. They're worth the money just because it's their job. I mean, if Joyce does not know what kind of stories Ngozi writes versus what kind of stories Bumi writes, she's not doing her work.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't have the time to do that, but that's why you hire a good PR person, because it's their job to know that and to be able to say, I'm going to pitch this story to the right person. Like I said, I could do this for an hour, so maybe I'll pause there and we can pick it up if there's anything else.
Okay, thank you very much. And so for tech talents who are also trying to get a bit of visibility. So for example, TechCabal does a great job at spotlighting people in tech, like My Life in Tech, right? interesting because recently we saw the story of, I think it was a Babalawo or something. So
Just by the way, and let me tell you one of my pet peeves about the modern world. Everybody sent the image of that story in like multiple groups I was in. Nobody was sending the story. They were just sending the picture. And I'm like, so everybody's shocked at the image, and you're not reading the story. So everywhere I saw the picture, I just posted the link. So if you've seen that image anywhere, please find the story and send it to them. It's actually a fascinating story. It's a really interesting and thoughtful story. Yes, the headline looks shocking, but if you dig into it, it's actually quite interesting.
Okay. So for tech talents, what are some quick, actionable steps that they can take to increase their visibility and possibly, accelerate, their career growth?
For a person that runs a media business, I really like over-index on substance and doing the work and being known for the work.
Good.
I think that really is like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 most important things is that if your work is excellent, people will speak for you, people will shout for you.
Right.
At the point where you do need visibility, I mean, look, sometimes you make the hard push. There's a really brilliant My Life in Tech this week is about a woman who kind of transitioned from hardcore sort of like mechanical engineering into DevOps.
Yeah.
Brilliant story. And, she chased me. I know her husband from somewhere. The two of them chased me. But I think I have an interesting story. Please tell this story.
Yeah.
I connected her with the writer. The writer loved the story. I read the story this week. I think it's a brilliant story.
Yeah.
So sometimes hustle, use all the connections you have to find the person and put it forward and put your story forward.
Okay.
But again, there's just building your personal brand. Some people are brilliant on Twitter. Some people are brilliant on Instagram. Again, it's useful to build a distinct brand.
Right.
If you are really funny, you can build a presence on Twitter. I think that a lot of people build shock presences on Twitter, and I don't think that's useful or productive. But there are people where it's just like, you know what, I enjoy this person's style of conversation, and that's one way to build it. But that doesn't have to be you. I tell people there's multiple platforms. Some people have built, I know someone who does a Francophone Africa newsletter on LinkedIn.
Oh, wow.
Once a week, she just writes everything that's interesting that's happening in Francophone Africa.
Oh, nice.
We're hiring her to come and do a newsletter for us now because actually we want to do more of that. But she's built a distinct brand. I went to a conference, somebody is like, if you want Francophone Africa, she's your lady.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, fantastic.
That's
what I mean about she's known for the work.
Yeah.
I could have discovered it on LinkedIn myself, but even if I didn't, somebody was like, that's your person, So it's also, if you're a really technically inclined person,
all right,
then yeah, start a technical blog. There's a guy that used to write for us, Abraham. Abraham wrote this incredibly geeky newsletter called Money Matters Africa. And you just open the thing and it's like, man, this guy is really obsessed with macroeconomics. It's fine.
Yeah.
The people that are interested in macroeconomics and the financing of Africa's technology ecosystems will find you.
Him. Yeah.
So be true to you. You're a great illustrator. Then be known for your illustrations. Focus on that. There are easy ways of building consistency and expectation in an audience. I post one thing every Monday. I post an incredible illustration every Monday. That's what people know me for.
Yeah.
Everybody will come for you every Monday now.
Sure.
I remember when we launched Naira Life under Zikoko. By week 2, everybody knew this thing comes out at 9 a.m.
Where is it?
Fuad wrote it, he launched it 1 week. He said 9 a.m. He promised you will get another one next week at 9 a.m. And everybody was waiting for him that we go see if you will miss this 9 a.m. deadline.
Yeah.
Again, if you do a good thing and you give people, I will be here at 9 a.m. every morning, I will be here at 9 a.m. every Monday, people know to expect it. People will come looking for you. The people that value it will share with other people. So build some consistency, find your own path, and be known for that.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Could we take 2 questions? 2 quick questions. Okay, I have one person and I have the second. Can we get mics, please? There's one person there. No, behind.
Please, very quickly, your name and your question. Just one question, please. You can ask the other one later. Okay, all my questions are linked, right? So thank you so much, sir. I think you're very cool and smart. Okay, my question
I'm gonna
is,
tell my mama you said that.
it's coming like from the ground up, like a submarine. Have there been any design or story that you thought is crazy, but ended up working? That's it. Now I'm gonna break it down further, right? What's your take on storytelling? Is it to keep it safe or to go crazy like Kanye West doing you? Now, it still boils down to the same question. Do you think that there's anything as a complicated story? Yeah.
Do I think there's anything as
A complicated story. Like
a complicated story?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, stories can be too complicated. The most useful one of the most useful classes I've had in my entire life is summarization in primary school. Like, you need to be able to figure out what's the most important part of your story and focus on that in communicating. So stories can be too complicated where audiences don't understand what it is that you are going for. You see it all the time in TV ads where they've spent all the money, but people look at it and they go, so what's the product exactly? Kind of thing. Can stories be too crazy?
Or safe?
Too safe?
Safe or go crazy with it?
I think you want to tell a good story. Sometimes stories are crazy, sometimes like they're a bit unbelievable and they work. I don't know what comes to mind right now, but I mean, Elon Musk, is a great example of somebody who tells incredible stories and somehow or the other makes them work. Like if you read his story about how he started SpaceX, it's insane. The guy went to Russia to buy rockets and was like, I'm going to build a company that is more efficient at sending people to space than NASA. And somehow or the other, he did it. That is a person who is very, very acquainted with the incredible and doing the incredible. And so you can tell an incredible story as long as you can back it up with substance and action. I'm going to build this incredible thing, but you just really have to deliver. Otherwise, everybody goes, that person just be telling stories. And we've covered plenty of people who told incredible stories with no substance to back it. And now nobody will ever give them money again.
Okay.
I didn't quite catch the first part of your question. I hope we've answered.
Maybe he'll come and chat with you about it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we've run out of time.
Terribly sorry.
There's a lady in orange here who's had her hand up from jump.
All right. Lady in red.
Lady in orange. Thank you. My name is Bukola. I'm a proprietress and I run an education consulting firm. So I've been seeing a lot of PR. I got to know about it when I started studying about, having my brand online. And I saw that the question, let me just, so I don't waste time, is that how do we do it? We that were in the education space, we kind of be like, we are tight-fisted, we are not you don't want to come online, come and start dancing. When you dance, you have to be very careful. Parents are watching, everybody's looking at you. What kind of PR can we adopt? Like, I've been trying, if I write stories, like, how do I make up stories? And, if I dance too much, I'm being careful. Like, people that want to buy from me are looking at me as if I'm serious. So that's my question. Thank you.
So again, like I said, you really need to adapt your PR or your storytelling to who it is you are and the essence of who you are. I'm sure there are schools that could do dancing as part of their PR strategy. If that's the personality of the proprietress or the founder, I'm sure there's a way to adapt it. But really, I would say choose a platform where you can be consistent and you think you can build an audience and stick to what you are great at. What differentiates you as a school? What can you educate the public about? I'm a parent. Parents are like suckers. They want all the information. They want to know everything. They want to consider all the possibilities. So if you're telling stories on a regular basis about what's important in choosing a school, what kind of things the best schools do, development tips for your children, I assure you people will sign up, they will share it. And you might need to make a little bit of an investment. So yes, either you are good at it or you find somebody on your team that's good at it. You might need to give them a decent camera or a decent phone to record these things. You might need to invest in just creating one backdrop that they can film on a regular basis so that it looks decent. But pick something. Also, my favorite trick, steal ideas. Go and look for 20 schools like yours on the internet that have big followings, what kind of things do they do? Borrow the idea and adapt it to the best of your capacity and improve it over time. So, I'm shameless about sort of taking in the best ideas from what people are doing in the world and figuring out how to adapt them locally. Yeah, that's just, there's no choice. There's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, and just to add to that, as a proprietress, you can do a lot of storytelling, right? Tell people what is so great about, your school, right? What are some of the amazing things happening, right? Your best students, how are they performing? How are teachers helping students develop? All of the amazing things you're doing. Tell stories, right? Amplify the voices of your teachers, your students, and all of that. Just remind people what is amazing about that school. You don't really have to dance if dancing is not your thing. You can just talk about the things that you guys are great at, some of the improvements that you're making, and all of that. Great. Thank you so much, Tomiwa, and thank you, everyone. I'm sorry. I wish we could take more questions, but if you have any questions, you can find us over there. And thank you very much, everyone.